Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you with a challenge, a call to action, a divine mandate. Kill that weak version of yourself. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Because your destiny is too great to be held hostage by a lesser version of you. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but living far beneath your potential. You were never created to be average. The moment you accept mediocrity as your reality, you imprison yourself in a version of life that was never meant for you. There is something divine, something powerful, something unique that was placed inside of you before you ever took your first breath. The problem is not whether greatness exists within you. The problem is whether you recognize it. You cannot elevate beyond the level of your identity. If you see yourself as weak, you will act weak. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will live a life that reflects that belief. The battle for transformation is not external, it is internal. It is not about what others think of you, it is about what you believe about yourself. Every time you allow fear, doubt, and insecurity to shape your decisions, you reinforce the weaker version of yourself. And that version must die. The weak version of yourself is built on lies. Lies that tell you that you are not good enough, that you will always struggle, that you do not have what it takes. But your Creator never intended for you to live by these limitations. Every person who has ever achieved greatness first had to recognize that they were designed for more. They had to reject the identity that circumstances, people, and past failures tried to impose on them. The process of elevation requires you to think differently. You must break free from the mindset that tells you to settle. You were never meant to live in fear of failure. You were never meant to live enslaved to opinions. You were never meant to live as a shadow of your true self. When you look at history, those who made an impact were not those who conformed to what was expected of them, but those who stepped into their identity with boldness. They refused to let the weak version of themselves dictate their future. There is a reason you have desires, dreams, and ideas that seem bigger than you. It is because your potential is greater than what you see right now. But potential is useless if it is never activated. A seed carries the potential of a mighty tree, but if it is never planted, if it is never given the right environment, it will never grow. The same is true for you. You have been carrying something powerful, but as long as you accept a small version of yourself, it will remain buried inside of you, never coming to fruition. You must make a decision. Will you continue living in the shell of your weak self, allowing excuses to govern your life? Or will you embrace the strength, power, and authority that you were created to walk in? The choice is yours, but understand this. Elevation will not come to those who refuse to see themselves as capable of more. You were created for greatness. The moment you accept that truth, everything changes. Potential is the seed of greatness. But excuses are the weeds that choke it before it ever has a chance to grow. Every person is born with potential, an unseen reservoir of ability, creativity, and vision that can transform not only their life, but the lives of others. Yet, potential alone is not enough. The tragedy is that most people die without ever tapping into even a fraction of what they were capable of. Not because they lacked ability, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they allowed excuses to cripple their destiny. Excuses are the enemy of progress. They disguise themselves as valid reasons, but in reality, they are simply justifications for staying the same. Every time you say, I don't have enough resources, I'm not qualified, it's not the right time, you give power to the weaker version of yourself. You give it permission to dictate your future. But understand this, there will never be a perfect moment, and you will never feel completely ready. Those who achieve greatness are not the ones who had the perfect conditions. They are the ones who refuse to be ruled by their excuses. The battle between your potential and your excuses is a war that takes place in your mind. It is a daily fight between what you know you are capable of and the fear that tells you to remain comfortable. Potential demands risk. It demands that you step into the unknown, that you take bold action before you see the full picture. But excuses whisper, stay where it's safe. What if you fail? What if you look foolish? What if you lose everything? And too often people listen, they let fear paralyze them, and in doing so, they bury their potential before it ever has a chance to rise. Greatness does not come to those who are talented. It comes to those who are disciplined, those who are relentless, those who push past their own limitations. The people who make history are not the ones who had fewer challenges, but the ones who refused to let challenges become their excuse. They understood that obstacles were not barriers, but opportunities to prove how badly they wanted to succeed. Potential is not activated by wishing. It is not developed by waiting. It is ignited through action. Every time you make a decision to push beyond what is comfortable, you weaken the hold of excuses. Every time you take responsibility for your life instead of blaming circumstances, you take a step closer to the version of yourself that you were created to be. The truth is, your potential is waiting on you. The moment you stop feeding your excuses and start feeding your vision, everything will shift. Nothing changes until you decide that your potential is worth more than your comfort. Nothing happens until you choose to stop talking about what you could do and start doing it. The battle is real, but the outcome is determined by one thing: your choice. Comfort is the silent killer of destiny. It feels safe, familiar, and predictable, but it is also the place where dreams go to die. The old version of you, the one bound by fear, procrastination, and self-doubt, thrives in the comfort zone. It resists change, avoids challenges, and prefers routine over growth. But the truth is, no one has ever stepped into their purpose while clinging to the safety of where they have always been. If you are going to rise to new levels, the old you must die. Breaking free from the comfort zone is not an easy process. It requires disruption. It demands that you challenge the habits, thoughts, and behaviors that have kept you stuck. Growth is painful because it stretches you beyond what you thought was possible. It forces you to confront the excuses that have held you hostage. The comfort zone is seductive because it removes the pressure of risk. It allows you to stay the same without any real consequences until you realize that staying the same is the greatest consequence of all. Every person who has ever achieved something significant had to experience the death of their old self. They had to let go of their dependency on comfort, their addiction to ease, and their fear of failure. Growth demands risk. It requires that you step into places where you do not have all the answers, where you do not feel fully prepared. This is why so many people remain stagnant. They want success, but they do not want to endure the discomfort that comes with transformation. They want elevation, but they do not want to sacrifice the security of the familiar. There will always be a war between the future you desire and the comfort of where you are. The question is, which one will you choose? Your comfort zone may feel safe, but it is a prison disguised as a refuge. It keeps you small, it keeps you limited, and it keeps you from walking in the fullness of your potential. The greatest enemy of your next level is not external opposition, it is internal resistance. It is the voice inside that says, you don't have to push any further, you don't have to go any deeper, you don't have to take that risk. That voice is not your friend. It is the voice of stagnation. Your future requires a different version of you. It demands a mindset that refuses to settle, a discipline that refuses to make excuses, and a courage that refuses to bow to fear. The old you may have been content with just getting by, but the new you must be hungry for more. The old you may have played it safe, but the new you must be willing to step into uncertainty. The old you may have sought comfort, but the new you understands that growth is never comfortable. If you want to experience elevation, you must be willing to kill the old version of yourself and embrace the process of becoming who you were always meant to be. Fire has a purpose. It burns away impurities, refines what is valuable, and reveals what is strong. Without fire, raw gold remains mixed with dirt and debris. It is only through intense heat that the gold is purified, its true worth revealed. In the same way, trials are not meant to destroy you. They are designed to refine you. Every challenge, every hardship, every painful moment is a tool shaping you into the person you were meant to become. Yet, so many resist the very process that is intended to elevate them. The weak version of yourself avoids discomfort. It looks for shortcuts, an easy way out, and an escape from adversity. But the greatest version of you can only emerge through the fire. The fire tests your character, your endurance, and your ability to remain faithful in the midst of difficulty. It reveals what is truly inside of you. Pressure exposes weaknesses, but it also strengthens resolve. If you never go through anything, you will never develop the internal strength required to sustain greatness. Growth is impossible without trials. Every level of your life requires a different version of you, and that version is forged in the fire of experience. You do not become wise without challenges. You do not become strong without resistance. You do not develop perseverance without opposition. The reason some people never elevate is that they run from every challenge instead of embracing the process. NERN, love, acceptance, and embracing the process, but those who understand the purpose of trials see them as opportunities rather than obstacles. Adversity is the training ground for success. You will never find a champion who has not endured hardship. You will never meet a leader who has not overcome great struggles. The people who make an impact are those who refuse to break under pressure. They chose to let the fire refine them instead of consume them. They refused to be victims of their circumstances and instead allowed their struggles to build resilience, wisdom, and power. When you shift your mindset, trials take on a new meaning. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin to ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of feeling defeated by challenges, you start to see them as stepping stones to greater things. The fire that was meant to destroy you becomes the very thing that strengthens you. The betrayal, the failure, the disappointment, these are not signs that you are losing. They are evidence that you are being refined for something greater. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not the absence of trials, but the response to them. Those who rise understand that fire is necessary for transformation. They do not fear it, nor do they run from it. Instead, they embrace it, knowing that every moment of difficulty is shaping them into the person they were destined to be. If you are in the fire, you are in the process of becoming. And when the fire has finished its work, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. Your destiny is too great to be surrounded by the wrong people. Who you associate with will either push you forward or pull you back. The people in your life are not neutral. They are either adding to your growth or subtracting from it. Elevation requires alignment. If you want to step into the next level of your life, you must be intentional about who has access to you. The weak version of you wants to hold on to familiar relationships, even when they no longer serve your future. But the elevated version of you understands that your environment must match your assignment. There is no such thing as staying the same. You are either growing or declining, moving forward or falling behind. The people you surround yourself with play a significant role in determining which direction you take. If you spend time with people who think small, you will start to think small. If you are constantly around those who complain, make excuses, and settle for less, you will unconsciously adopt the same mindset. But if you align yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you beyond your limits, you will be forced to grow. Every great person understands the power of association. Those who achieve great things are intentional about their relationships. They seek out mentors, learn from those who have gone before them, and surround themselves with individuals who reflect where they want to go. They are not afraid to let go of relationships that hinder their progress. This is not arrogance, it is wisdom. Staying connected to the wrong people can delay or even destroy your destiny. The challenge is that growth requires separation. There are people who were meant for your past but cannot go with you into your future. This is one of the most difficult parts of elevation. Learning to release what no longer aligns with where you are going. It is not that those people are bad. It is simply that they are not assigned to your next level. Holding on to the wrong relationships out of guilt, loyalty, or fear will cost you time, energy, and progress. Your future demands that you walk with people who see beyond where you are. You need voices in your life that encourage you to aim higher, think bigger, and stretch beyond your comfort zone. You need people who hold you accountable, who challenge your excuses, and who refuse to let you settle. These are the relationships that will fuel your purpose and accelerate your growth. The truth is, you cannot elevate alone. No one succeeds in isolation. The right connections will open doors that hard work alone cannot. The right relationships will introduce you to opportunities that you could not access by yourself. But alignment is a choice. You must be willing to evaluate your circle, identify who is pushing you forward and who is holding you back, and make the necessary adjustments. Your next level is waiting, but you must surround yourself with the right people to step into it. Authority is not something given. It is something recognized and walked in. The moment you understand who you truly are, everything changes. You no longer ask for permission to be great. You step into it. You no longer shrink in the presence of challenges. You rise to meet them. The weak version of you doubts, hesitates, and second guesses every move. But the elevated version of you walks boldly, knowing that you were created to lead, to build, and to impact. Your authority is already within you, but it is your responsibility to activate it. There comes a moment when you must stop waiting for affirmation from others and start declaring who you are. Too many people live beneath their potential because they are waiting for external validation. They wait for the right opportunity, the right connections, the right words of encouragement. But authority does not wait. It takes action. If you do not believe in yourself, no one else will. If you do not step into your role with confidence, life will continue to push you into the background. Walking in your new identity requires a shift in posture, mindset, and speech. You cannot carry the old version of yourself into a new season. The mindset of fear, doubt, and insecurity must be left behind. Your words must align with your destiny. No more talking yourself out of opportunities, no more declaring what you cannot do, and no more downplaying your abilities. Authority demands that you stand tall, speak with conviction, and move with certainty. The greatest enemy of authority is hesitation. When you hesitate, you create space for doubt to creep in. Every time you second-guess your abilities, you weaken your stance. Every time you let fear dictate your decisions, you reinforce the weaker version of yourself. But when you walk in authority, you trust that what is inside of you is enough. You do not allow fear to paralyze. True authority is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the understanding that you have been positioned for a purpose and you refuse to let anything keep you from fulfilling it. It is recognizing that your voice matters, Your presence carries weight, and your actions have impact. Those who make a difference in the world are not those who are the most talented or the most educated, but those who have the courage to walk in their identity without apology. You must decide whether you will continue to live as the lesser version of yourself or if you will step fully into the person you were created to be. The decision is yours, but understand this: authority is not just about knowing who you are, it is about acting like it. The moment you start walking in your new identity with boldness, you will see doors open, opportunities arise, and influence increase. Everything you need is already inside you. The only question is, will you step into it? The process of elevation is not for the faint-hearted. A world of greatness requires sacrifice, discipline, and the demands of growth. Escapes your greatness requires sacrifice, discipline, and unshakable commitment to growth. You were never meant to live beneath your potential. The version of you that settles for less, that makes excuses, that fears change, that version must die. Your future is too valuable to be held back by fear, doubt, or complacency. You have been called to something greater, and the time to rise is now. No one can make this decision for you. You must choose to kill the weak version of yourself and embrace the journey of transformation. You must be willing to endure the discomfort, trust the process, and walk in the authority that is already within you. Your next level is waiting, but will not come to those who refuse to move. It belongs to those who are willing to let go of the old, push through the fire, and align themselves with destiny. The question is, will you be one of them?